Hi, this is the fourth part of modeling a door with Blender, and in this part I will add the door frame and set the pivot point so that we can open the door by rotating. First I want to have an inset for this door here, so I will add an edge loop, then switch to face selection mode, and again I use snapping to set the size of this inset. So the size of this inset in reality is about 2 centimeters. So I can use one unit, which in my case is exactly 2 centimeters. And I will add this to the right, to the left, and to the top. Select all the faces here, then to orthogonal mode, and snap it 1 unit. That's it. Okay, now let's add a bevel to some edges. So I will select the edges now, not the inner edges. Okay, now press Ctrl B and add this bevel. Not too much, by the way. You can press the Shift key while moving the mouse to have more control over your bevel. Okay, the bevel is done. And here you can see I scaled down the handles just a little bit because they were too big. I measured this. My door handles are about 15 centimeters. And so I repaired this. Okay, now let's add the door frame, and I need a good size for the door frame, and why not reuse these edges here of the inside of the door that are already added because they have to fit. So I select these edges, press Shift D to duplicate them and move them out in Y direction. And now I will connect them. Switch to vertex selection mode now and snapping two vertices. So I enable the snapping and set the snapping to vertex, and now I will snap it to this vertex. It will be automatically merged. Let's check this. Yeah. Okay, and then I select these two vertices at the bottom and bring them down till they snap to the other vertices at the bottom. And now I have the inside of my door frame with the perfect measurement. And now I press B for box select and then the P key to make this a separate object. Can rename this to door frame. Now I set the pivot point of this new object to the center of the geometry, and you can see when I bring this in that it matches my door, the inside of the door. So let's create this inside, the insides of the door frame. So switch to edit mode, select these faces, press E key, then Y, and extrude it to the inside. Then again I press E, then S, and scale this down, these inner vertices. Okay, but now these two vertices at the bottom are not at the right location, so I will select these and move them down till they snap the other vertices at the bottom. Okay, again I select the four vertices in the inside and press S, then X, and scale it just a little bit down. Yeah, just like that. And then I extrude this in Y-axis direction. Okay, that's the inner part of the door frame. And now I will set the pivot point for the door. So I first set my 3D cursor to this position here. Then I set origin to 3D cursor And now when I rotated this door around the Z-axis, then you can see that I can open my door by rotating it. I can also type in the rotation angle for the Z-axis here. Type in 90 and then it is opened at 90 degrees. Okay, great. Now let's create the outer parts of this door frame. So I switch to edit mode for the door frame, select this edge in edge selection mode, press E key and move it upwards. Then I press S and X and set the size in X direction. Then I switch to vertex selection mode and select this vertex, press E key, then C and bring it down, and then I move it down with snapping to vertex enabled till it snaps a vertex at the bottom, and the same thing I do for the vertex on the right side. Okay, then let's select these 4 vertices, press F key to fill this face, and the same for the right one. I think I will hide the door, press H to hide it in object mode, then again select the 4 vertices. It's a little bit tricky here to select them. Okay. And F to fill it. Oops. Do this from the other side. And now. Okay. That's the door frame. Select all the vertices in edge selection mode and press Ctrl N to set the normals to the outside. Like this. I enabled this screencast key, sorry. And now select the outer vertices here and press E and Y to extrude out this little bevel here for the door. Yeah, just like this. Perhaps a little bit more. Okay, and before I will add bevels for this door frame, I will add a mirror modifier. And there's a cool trick. Again, select this vertex here and then set the 3D cursor to this vertex, switch to object mode, and then set the origin of this model to this point, to this location. And this gives us the possibility to add a mirror modifier for the y-axis that mirrors exactly at this position for the y-axis. And here you can see when I enable this for y with clipping enabled, this is the perfect mirror for the door frame. So I switch again to edit mode and select all the edges that I want to bevel. Be careful not to include the inner edges. So I uncheck these ones. Okay, I think I have all. Also disable the edges at the bottom, they don't need bevels. Okay, and now I will press Ctrl B and add the bevels, and you can see that they are mirrored because of our mirror modifier to the other side. That's a really nice method to do this. Okay, now we can unhide our door. And now the very last thing for this part of the tutorial is to add some walls. And therefore I just add a cube, have my snapping still enabled, and snap this here to the inside of the door frame. Then I switch to edit mode, select this face and snap it to the other inside of the door frame. Really simple. Then I move this up, still snapping enabled. Very cool. Okay, that's the first part. We can delete this inner face here, we don't need it. Okay, and now let's move this a little bit up. Just select this upper face here and move it. And then I will insert an edge loop in edit mode. Again, snap it here to the door frame. Then I will duplicate this wall in object mode. Shift D and move it here in X direction. Then R, C and 180 to rotate it 180 degrees for the C axis. And snap it here to this side and again to the inside of the door frame. Okay, now I have two objects and I will join them in object mode. First I check if the snapping is successful. You can check here the wireframe, and this seems okay. And now I switch back to object mode, select both walls and press Ctrl J to join them to one model. Then I switch to edit mode, edge selection and press F to fill all these faces here. Okay, and the last one. Cool. Okay, now let me add a material for the wall. Very simple diffuse material, and give it a green color. We can change this later on, add some textures and other stuff. Okay, in the next part I will add a floor and these little door holders, these cylindrical shapes on the right side, and then export this model with animations and use it in Unity 5, Unreal Engine 4. We will see what we can do with this door. Okay, I really hope you liked this tutorial and you come back to the fifth part. I will add it in a couple of days. Please subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot for watching and see you soon here on JNM.